Hey guys, it's James from CNET Australia, and we're up here in Port Macquarie at Extreme Velocity for the Blu-ray and DVD launch of Transformers Dark of the Moon. We're going to be catching up with John DeVore, who's the Red Bull Air Force manager, talking a little bit about what it's like flying a wingsuit and how he got involved with the movie. So how did you get involved with the new Transformers movie?
It all started one of my friends, JT Holmes, him and Julian Boole, the guy that flew camera for the movie. They did a 60 Minutes television show, and the story goes, I guess Michael Bay was watching 60 Minutes one day and saw them doing proximity wingsuit flying down big mountains in Europe and Norway, and just said, I need to have that in my movie. And next thing you know, JT's phone rang, and he was asked if he could put together a team, and was told what was, wanted to happen. And so my phone rang and called me up, and me and a couple of other my friends that are on the Red Bull team, we have a lot of experience doing it, so we all came together, and next thing you know, we were in Chicago.
How did you actually make the progression from parachuting into wingsuit flying?
Well, most wingsuit flyers are just skydive parachutists. It's kind of a fun just thing you can do, kind of like a lot of people know sky surfing or something like that. In the older days, before people were taking it into the base jump world, you just put a wingsuit on, jump out of a plane, and it gave you 2 to 3 times the amount of free fall time because it slowed your descent rate down so much. So I played around with it a lot, but then I to be honest, got bored in the big blue sky with it. I'd rather do more aerobatic, 3-dimensional flying. So I kind of broke away from wingsuit flying. And then, as it started going more towards the base jump world and being able to get close proximity to mountains and cliffs and stuff, kind of started turning me on a little bit back to the wingsuit part of it. And it is a dangerous sport, hands down, and it's not really that regulated. So a lot of people can get into it, some that have great experience and some that almost have none. And unfortunately, it's usually the ones that don't have much experience that create the bad news for us.
Was it nerve-wracking flying through a city?
It was, but they did it right. They sent us out to Switzerland, and it's kind of a base jumping mecca, really big mountains near the Eiger Mountain and whatnot. And they gave us the budget to go on a 2-week rehearsal. So we identified mountains and features that were similar to kind of what buildings would look like, pure vertical walls and the right heights. So we went out there and we were able to train in an environment that, it sounds funny, that we're comfortable in, the normal mountain world. And so by the time we got to Chicago, we already knew what our formations were going to look like and those kind of things. So it was very nerve-wracking, of course, but we went there as prepared as possible. What
does it actually take to scare you?
To scare me?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm scared doing it, but it's a good scared. It's what keeps you going and keeps you alert. It's like an example on the movie is when the wind starts picking up, and you're going to have rotoring winds off of building tops, and wind in cities, for everybody that's been in a city, they know that it can be going any direction depending on how it's funneling through a city. So those kind of things definitely got me peeking a little bit when the wind would pick up, and like standing on the Willis Tower, leaning over the edge, and the wind's coming straight up the wall and blasting up, and that's something you're used to feeling wind come at you, not, hitting a wall and then going straight up. So those little things, we were the first people in history to really do urban wingsuit proximity flying. Nobody's really done that before, so we kind of went in there and we were the test dummies at the same time as the pros. A lot of people don't realize that obviously we're traveling forward at a high rate of speed, so everything behind a flyer is bad turbulent air. So if somebody was to cut in front of me and maybe we're right off the deck of a building, I wouldn't have air to fly in, and it could drop me out and be very bad news for me. It was definitely the highlight of my career, and I've done a lot of stuff. It was I'm used to having a mountain or something maybe on my side or going down to some terrain, but we were flying, through slaloming through buildings. Everything you see on there, was what we were doing. There's obviously some computer graphics thrown in also, but we were able to fly so close to buildings, you'd look over and see your reflection in the window, and it was just, the whole time you're like, this shouldn't be happening, but it was. So.
Was it difficult coordinating with the ground crew as you were flying through the streets of Chicago?
No, the production there, they were top notch. They had 6 square city blocks shut down, more staff than needed, police force, fire, you name it, and they made us feel really comfortable that we were jumping over a sterile environment, that we weren't going to be landing somewhere where the crowds were rushing in and stuff. So what we have here is some of the equipment we used for the Transformers 3 wingsuit proximity flying through downtown Chicago. To explain it a little bit, basically this is just a human wing, like a flying squirrel, that we climb inside of. And as you can see, you know, inside we're wearing our base jumping equipment, you know, our leg straps, we cinch those down. We have the base rig on the back. And then so once your gear's all set, you just zip into it. And it kind of feels a little bit like a straight jacket once you're in it, because you're gonna see when I get my arm zipped up, it really limits your range of motion. But you kind of need to do that to create the tension and turn it into a wing. So the way these work real simply is you got your wings, your arm and your leg wings. And you can see here there's little vents and little vents here. So when you're flying belly towards Earth at an attack angle, just like an airplane wing would go through the sky, wind goes into these vents and it fills up these cells here. And it basically pressurizes your wing, where you can squeeze the air out if you need to. But once you're flying and it has that rammed air pressure, it turns into almost what feels like a fixed wing. And you have a couple little emergency things that if you needed to get rid of your wings for some reason, you could pull these little handles that you can see a little yellow cord that goes through. And what it would do is it would cut away your wing. Instead of having to unzip it, it would pull a cord out. And so your wing would detach so you could then reach up. Because if you could see, when I go back and when you're flying and you're flying through the sky and it's time to pull, you reach back and you grab your pilot chute here and you throw that out into the wind. It grabs air and it pulls your main canopy out of your rig. And if you had anything that happened like an off-heading opening and you're going at a cliff wall or a building wall, as you can see, I can't reach up. So if you don't have time to unzip, you would just simply grab those handles and pull them, and then your arms would be free like you unzipped, and you can reach up and start grabbing your equipment. And yeah, you don't really undo your legs until you're under a good parachute and you're already flying, and that's simply you just unzip the leg wing so you can run out of landing when you're running under parachute. But yeah, they're super simple. It's just a wing in between the arms and a wing in between the legs. And the technology is progressing fast, where they're figuring out new fabrics and new ways to pressurize the wing to optimize better and better flights. But yeah, that's the simplicity of a wingsuit, flying squirrels.
All right, guys, so that was John DeVore talking about the stunts and Transformers, and like, quite frankly, mad props to that man, because I hate heights and I would never ever want to do anything like that. However, we are in Australia's only vertical wind tunnel here at Port Macquarie at extreme velocity, and thankfully there's not too many heights because I'm willing to go in this one. So we're going to jump in and have a look. That was unreal. Like just the feel of floating there, and like they were saying that everything you got to do in like real little tiny movements, and that's completely true. Like if you kind of just move your arms forward a little bit, you'll fly up because you're kind of making a balloon, and if you go this way, you'll sink very fast. And it's not like it will take a second to kick in. As soon as you're changing your body movement, you're dropping. And especially with the feet as well, I noticed that like I'd probably be bending my legs maybe 20 degrees, my knees rather, and that would be making a big impact. So I think what they were saying is you got to keep it like little, and like I definitely agree with that. And it was an amazing feeling, and I hope you guys had as much fun watching this video as I did making it, because that was just unreal. Thanks for watching, guys.